Hi everyone, I'm April and you're watching the Tangled Cat Speaks. Thank you for joining me this time. If you have been with me for a little bit, thank you for coming back. And if you're new, you're welcome to join me and hang out a little bit. So just as a reminder, I live in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, which is just outside of Albuquerque. And sorry, Aggie's right here and she needs attention. Um, You want to say hi? No, she's being cranky. Cranky old lady. Say hi, Aggie. Okay. Fine. She's so cranky. So anyways, I'm from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, and the last time we talked, that was a very loud motorcycle that just went by. The last time we talked, I was talking about how I had been retired for a little over a month, and I was really hoping to get a job soon, another job soon, to kind of supplement my retirement income. And it just so happens that just after I had podcasts, the next week I got a call back and I got hired at an insurance company doing customer service. So it's not going to be any kind of outbound calls where I'm having to do like sales pitches or anything like that. It's strictly just helping customers understand the benefits of their account. So I'm still in training for that. I'm very excited. Very different than doing 911. Um, and people keep saying, "Oh, you've been on the phones for 25 years. You should know. You should get this. No problem." But really, it's a very different vibe. It really is. Whereas 911, yes, we want to show empathy and caring and all of that, but we also have to kind of cut out the small talk for the most part because you can hear the other 911 calls are coming in, and it's just you want to get everybody the help that they can as quickly as you can so that you can help the next person. Um, where here at this particular call center that I'm at, they don't have any like a standard call handle time. So, they want you to really take care of your customer, figure out what they want, and they really push the small talk and the chit chat and stuff. And that's going to be a hard 25-year habit to break. Just getting right down to business where they want you to also focus on building a rapport with your customer. So it's a little bit different. I think I'll be all right. I'm still learning the ins and outs of this particular job. So I'm actually nervous to get on the phone for the first time, but I'm super excited. I do have a job. This is actually located downtown Albuquerque, so it takes me with traffic. It takes me about an hour to get there, but I leave an hour and 15 ahead just so that I'm early in case of any traffic shenanigans. So there is a little bit of a drive, but that has been kind of a good thing. I don't mind it because that means I get to listen to my audiobooks more, because really the only time I listen to audiobooks is in the car, because or if I'm knitting. But lately when I'm knitting, I'm watching some sort of binge watch on Hulu or Netflix, or I'm watching my podcasts here on YouTube. So I haven't really been getting into my audiobooks, but now that I've got this crazy drive to and from, I've been listening to audiobooks. So I'm just going to go over a few that I have gone through so far since I started my job, my new job. Let's see. So I think I had started Anthem for Doomed Youth last time. I finished that. That's part of the Daisy Dalrymple mystery series by Carola Dunn. And I also finished the next book in her, which was number 20, called Gone West. Now, again, these are the amateur sleuth books that I love so much, and I love them. This is set in the UK, so I love the lady that reads this series. Her voice is so pleasing, and she gets all the characters down. You can tell exactly who's who, and I just love listening to her voice. So I really enjoyed both of these two books by Carola Dunn. And then I kind of decided to go out of my element and not do another cozy mystery amateur sleuth kind of thing for a little bit. So I listened to a couple of books that I got off of Audible. I'm still relatively new from Audible, but every month they give you these a list of 5 Audible originals, and they're free. You get, out of the 5, you get to pick 2 of them. And so I chose these 2 recently, and I thought, oh, this is going to be cool. So I got one called The Absolute Brightness of Leonard Peltier. And this was written and read by James Lacine. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. But it was really cool. I was intrigued by this mostly because he wrote it and he's reading it himself, and that interested me a little bit, to hear how the voices are supposed to be, how the personalities are supposed to sound from the person who created them. So I was really, really excited. Turns out I adored this story. It is so compelling. So it's short. It's maybe an hour and a half long listen. Very short, but to the point, and basically centers around a missing boy, 11 years old, and everybody's interactions with him before he had gone missing. So I'm not going to give a whole lot away on it because it's super short, and if you happen to have Audible, maybe you can find that one. I don't know if it's still part of the free thing every month. I can't remember even which month I got this one in. It was in my Audible library, so I don't know how long I've had it. But if you happen to run across that one and you have Audible, check it out. It's really, really interesting. And it's under the Audible Originals. And then the other one that I got off of Audible, I had to get, because I'm a nerd. My kids loved all of the R.L. Stine books, Goosebumps and all of that. And when I finally gave in and got them their first gaming console, which was a Wii, one of the games that even I enjoyed, and I'm not a gamer by any means at all, and one of the games that I really enjoyed playing with them was based on Goosebumps, and I can't think of the name of it now. It was a carnival, something like that. Anyway, I loved it, and so I'm kind of, a fan of R.L. Stine. I read some of the kids' books while they were reading them, so I was like, oh, this sounds cool. It's an audiobook, and it's October. It's ghost stories. It's called Camp Red Moon, and it had several short, sitting by the bonfire at camp kind of stories. So it's really cool, and it's, that R.L. Stine flavor is just a little bit quirky. But it was really, really fun. I had a good time listening to that. It's really, I think that the only thing about that is the actors' voices were fine, but sometimes it didn't feel like their intonation was right. Like, in some places they kind of overdid it, and some places they were just kind of underwhelming. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't know how to explain it. I didn't really care for the voices too much, but the stories were good. I like R.L. Stine's style of writing. It's just very interesting. It's a little bit twisted. Not Stephen King twisted, but it's a little bit twisted. And so now I just started another one called a different book that I got, and I had actually I forgot I owned this book in paperback, but I got it on Overdrive. Sorry, I'm making sound effects, and there's cars going by, and there's all kinds of shenanigans going on. Sorry. Anyway, I got it off of Overdrive through my library, and it's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And I really love stories about Greek mythology, and the little twists that people make on them and stuff. And this one is definitely about Achilles as he is growing up from a teenager into adulthood, and it's seen through the point of view. The story is written through the point of view of his friend Patroclus. So it's very different. I wasn't expecting some of the things that are going on in this book, but I'm enjoying it very much. The person who does the voices really well, and it sounds weird to me. It sounds weird to say, but whenever I hear the dialogue part for Achilles, I can't get the Brad Pitt Achilles out of that movie Troy out of my head. that's Brad Pitt did Achilles so well in that movie. It's actually one of the few movies that I was smitten with Brad Pitt. I have never really been like, oh, Brad Pitt, but in Troy, my goodness. So whenever I hear his character in this book, that's the vision I have, is Brad Pitt. And let's see what else. Speaking of Greek mythology, I told you that I was doing a series by Amy Carter, and I had done the goddess test. I finished that in hardcover physical book. I finished that one, and now I'm doing one on my Kindle, the next in the series, and it's one of the little, some authors will do full novels, and then there'll be only Kindle only novellas in between certain books. So that's what this one is. This is the Goddess Hunt that comes in right after the Goddess Test. So that's kind of, if you go to fantasticfiction.com, I love that site. Love fantastic fiction. You put in an author and you can see all of their books in chronological order. So you can see that this little novella falls right after the first book. So they've labeled it 1.5. Anyway, so I'm really enjoying that one too. But again, they've rearranged the whole stories, the background stories of the gods and goddesses. And it's fine as long as you go in knowing that it's not going to be faithful to what we know as the mythology. It's interesting and it's good. And these ones by Amy Carter are more like young adult drama, romance kind of stuff. It's not, I think I've mentioned before, I don't like heavy romance where it's a lot of detailed romancy stuff. But this one is, there's like a look or a touch, a brushing of hands or something. And that's enough for me. I don't need anybody to go any more detail. So, but I'm really enjoying that. So it's on my Kindle. And let's see, what else? What have I been watching? I know this is a knitting podcast, but I don't have a whole lot of knitting to show you, and I'll get to that in a minute. But what have I been watching this past month? I've watched the last season 7 of Elementary. I believe that this is the last ever season. I'm just kind of bummed about that. I loved watching Elementary, and I just did the last season 7, and it was so good, and I just didn't ever want it to end. But I think that is the last one. So I went all out and watched that, I think in like a day and a half. Excuse me, my eyeball is itching. So then I had to find something else to watch. So I kind of stumbled across another show called Freakish. And I think this one was on Hulu. I'm not sure. But it's called Freakish, and basically it's about some kids who get locked in their high school after a nearby chemical plant explodes and things start happening, and it ends up being sort of a zombie type movie or show. Not anywhere near as scary and intense as The Walking Dead, which I love, but it's still got some zombies in it. It's pretty cool, pretty scary. So I watched the 2 seasons that are available on that one. I'm hoping they come out with a third one because I was kind of sad how the second season ended. But again, I totally binge watched that straight through. It took me a couple of days for that one, but loved it. I was very immersed in it, even though it is definitely more something geared toward younger adults. Like I said, it's not anywhere near as out there as The Walking Dead, but I liked it. And then this next one, I kind of am blushing about it because I don't understand why I even started watching it. I have no clue why my Netflix keeps recommending Asian dramas to me. I have no idea. And I'm like, why does this keep coming up? Is this all that's on Netflix? I don't understand. That's all it kept saying. Watch this, watch this. I'm like, fine, I'll pick this one. And it's called The Rookie Historian. I fell in love with this series. It is so darn cute. It's just so stinking cute how it's set in ancient times. I don't even know what dynasty this is supposed to be in, what century, but it's obviously set way, way back, especially by, you know, according to their dress and the what do you call it, the hierarchy, you know, you've got the noble people and the king, and then you've got the peasants and all of that. So based on all of that, you can tell it's way, way back. And it's just so darn fun. It's basically around the premise of a young girl who wants to get out of her arranged marriage and decides to test and take an exam to become what they call historians, who are basically people who record all of the incidents that happen throughout the kingdom or whatever, or and also within the royal court in the palace and everything. And they have to be unbiased, and everything they write down has to be absolute fact with no emotion woven in there. And it's usually done by men. So they opened it up for whatever reason. I can't remember. I think I might have missed that part at the very first episode, why they opened it up, the testing for women. But there was a bunch of girls that tested and only 4 made it, and one of them was this main character. And she's adorable, she's feisty, and she was able to get out of her arranged marriage because, lo and behold, the guy she was arranged with actually liked her and went ahead and broke it off in such a way that she didn't look like a bad woman. So she got to have her freedom and go take this exam, and she actually got hired. So now she's with all of these guys who treat these 4 girls badly at first because they're women. And, you know, over the episodes, they start to get along and stuff. But it's just funny because it's a serious kind of drama, but it's got a little bit of comedy thrown in, and the comedy is more how over exaggerated they get when they're showing emotion. So if they're very angry, they're waving their arms around and their voices get super high and they're talking really, really fast, very animated. And if they're showing something like love, they get almost like you could literally see heart eyes. Like they're just so adorable with their little facial expressions, and it's just cute. And they have these little sound effects, like cartoony sound effects for certain things. Like if he's looking at her and she's blinking, and every time she blinks, it makes this little blink blink sound in the background, like cartoony. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm loving it. It's called The Rookie Historian, and it's all subtitled, which makes it a little bit hard to knit while I'm watching it, but I'm working through it. I'm really enjoying it. I think I've got 2 more episodes to watch on that. Hopefully they'll come out with more because I'm hooked. So, knitting. It has been a month, and when I last talked to you all, I wasn't working, so I was knitting, and I had tons of things to show you last time. This time, I don't have a finished object. I know I was telling you about a pair of socks that I was knitting in some worsted weight or DK weight yarn that I haven't finished, that I was working out of In the Footsteps of Sheep book. I have not gotten to that second sock, so yeah. Haven't even touched it. And actually, I think I want to rip out the toe of the first sock because I don't know if it's because it's such a heavy worsted that the Kitchener on the toe rubs against my toes, and I can feel it, and it's not very comfortable. I don't know if that means my sock is too short or what's going on with that, but I think I want to pull out the toe and try it as the round toe that I used on my last sock. So I think I'm going to do that and see what happens there. So that's future plans. And I believe I showed you this shawl. That's the back side. that I've been working on with my minis, and it's going to be using 24 20-gram minis that usually you would get in an advent calendar type setup from an indie dyer. So it started out, I think it was somewhere around here. I know I talked about yellow, but I got over it. It looks good now that it's all kind of in. I just wish that the two pinks that ended up in it, I mean, you can tell they're different under there. If you look here and here, you can tell the two colors held with this solid yellow are different, but they're not different enough for my liking. So like if you go here, you can see that this purple with this pink is very different than the purple and the blue. So anyway, let's get off of the yellow because, ugh. But anyway, so I've worked very hard on this, and I've actually gotten through 20 of the 24 colors. So I've only got 4 more left, but I thought about waiting until I actually had a finished object for you all, but I really didn't want to put off I didn't want to put off the podcast any longer, so I just thought I'd show you, and then next time I come back, I will have it fully blocked. But it's already crazy long. It is okay. This is my wingspan, and it still has this much hanging over. And like I said, I still got 4, maybe 5 more colors to go, but I'm digging it. It's using that Skype, I've mentioned it before, stitch. And I like how it's blending, but I think I might tweak that again too, of how I did the colors, because I did a wide band of, let's just pretend this is wide band of color 1 and 2, the narrow band of 2, and then a wide band of 2 and 3. I think what I want to do is even this out so they're similar sizes, so that you see that color by itself just a little bit more. It's really kind of hard to see that little strip all by itself. In this particular color you can see it because it ended up being a solid with 2 speckles. But if you can see, you've got the one color here, the other color there, and then this color down the middle. That's how I'm transitioning them. But I think I want to make all 3 of these bands more equal in width. So, allergies. So I think that's really the big tweak that I want to make with this for future if I do end up writing this up. It's at this point, I think, about 13 inches wide, and it fits good over the shoulders. It's enough to keep your shoulders warm, and it'll be nice and long. But I think that I want to see how wide it blocks out. I'm hoping that it blocks out to at least 15, but that might be very wishful thinking. So I might also end up adjusting the stitch count to make it for a wider, and especially if I make it wider, then it won't be quite as long, and I think that'll be better because this is going to be way long. It's way past my wingspan now, and I've still got several colors to go. But that's what I've been working on, and the reason why I've only been working on that is because of my job. I am working only 8 hours for 5 days, and I got weekends off. However, I do have to drive the hour to and the hour from. So basically I'm doing, you know, if you count those as part of my work, the driving part of it is part of my actual work, that's basically 5 10-hour days. So I don't get time to really knit. I come home, I make dinner, and then I'm just worn out. I think I'm worn out right now because of all of the new information that keeps coming at me. But this isn't my my actual schedule. Once I'm off of training, I'll have a different schedule, and I'll actually go in much earlier. So I'll get off earlier, and then that might give me more time to knit at home. But we'll see. So far, since I started working, I've only been working on the weekends, and I don't really have a lot of time to knit at work. So, although they said we are allowed to once we're off of training, but we'll see how that goes, because right now it doesn't feel like I can even do it. But I'm really enjoying it, knitting on this. And I believe I mentioned I was knitting these colors as they came, numbered 1 through 24 in the advent calendar that I had used. And I still can't remember which advent calendar. I know it was off of Etsy. I should just go on Etsy and get the name of the shop that I got it from. But again, 24 20-gram skeins of fingering weight yarn. So basically about 90 yards per color, 24 colors. But I'm really liking it. I know that looking at these colors, there could be a different way to arrange them. Like say if I wanted to do a smooth gradient or ombre kind of fade, I could totally rearrange these colors. But I really wanted to stick with the 1 through 24 in order this go around, and I'm really having fun with it. I keep seeing another color and I'm like, oh, what is this one gonna look like with that one? And that's really what I wanted with this design, is to make it so that you want to keep knitting on it. And it's simple enough to do some TV knitting, but the way that the colors are arranged, the changing of the colors gives it enough that you have to think about, that you don't get bored. So I'm really enjoying it. It's one of those, I just really wish I had finished it sooner so that I can show you it all. But I just wish I had more time to knit, but I wanted a job. So here I am, I got a job and I'm super, super happy about it. So yeah, that's really all I got this month. I've been literally monogamously knitting on this shawl. Oh, I forgot a couple more things that I was reading. I'm about halfway through this book, The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman, because I wanted to read Practical Magic. I've never read that book, but I adore the movie. And I know that I have heard that the movie is very changed from the novel. So I've been wanting to read the novel. I haven't gotten around to it. Turns out Alice Hoffman wrote a prequel. And so I decided to go with that first. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm just waiting. You know, I'm almost done, a little bit more than half. I'm hoping that I can get the Practical Magic in soon from the library, but it looks like it's on a crazy long hold. So we'll see. In the meantime, I started this fantasy novel, which really I think is more like 4 different short stories all around the same event going on in this place. It's called The Tangled Lands, and it is Paulo, don't know how to say that last name, there's a glare, and then it is Tobias Buckle. And actually I have it marked here that I'm about halfway, which is 2 of the 4 stories. But really what happened was I got those 2 stories on I thought I would try, I think it's called Roku on my phone. It's kind of like a Kindle, you know, it's a book reading app. So I thought I would try that, and those were I was given like a credit for signing up new, and those were 99 cents each. And then when I started reading them, I realized that they were meant to be together, and I realized that there was this book. And then I thought this was like a book completely separate from them, but in actuality, those 2 short stories are the first 2 short stories in this book. So, but that's fine. That just means I'll get through it quicker. So I got 2 more stories to read in that one, and I don't know what I have lined up for this next month as far as reading. I may have to go back to some of my cozy mysteries because I miss them. I love them so much. But definitely Circe is coming up for sure by Madeline Miller. So that's about all I got for you. I will see you all next month. Thank you for spending your evening with me, or your morning, or whatever time of day it is for you. I hope that you get plenty of time for your crafting and downtime and your you time. Take care of yourself. Do what you need to do to make sure that you find some enjoyment in your day or in your week for yourself. So that's what I wish for you, and I will see you all next month. Thank you. Bye. Joining me. I'm gonna start this over.